It's November 6, 2021, beautiful city of the villages in Florida. My name is Jong-Woo Han. I am the president of Korean War Legacy Foundation, which has more than 1,500 interviews, not only from the United States, but also all other 21 countries that participated in the Korean War. We are doing this to preserve your memory because it's been a long time and to honor your service, but at the same time, we want to bring this interview to the classroom for the teachers so that they can use this interview, direct witness of the Korean War veterans for their own students when they talk about the Korean War in the context of Cold War, right? And we are supported by the Ministry of Patriots and Veterans Affairs of Republic of Korea. It's a Veterans Affairs Department in Korea to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the breakout of the Korean War in 1950. I am so honored and I am so pleased to have you here for the interview. And you are with your beautiful wife, Peggy, right? So I will ask her to join you later at the end of this interview. Please introduce yourself. What is your name?
My name is Albert Frisina.
Frisina. Could you
Frisina.
spell it?
F-R-I-S-I-N-A.
What kind of ethnic origin does this?
Italian.
Italian?
Yes. Mm-hmm. My dad was born there, and my grandparents on my mother's side were born there.
What is your birthday, sir?
May 18th, 1933. I'm an old guy.
1933. No, you are young. You are the youngest one that I met here. Yeah. So you are 88, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You are the youngest. So where were you born?
I was born in Allegheny, New York, in my mother's home.
Could you spell it? A-L?
A-L-L-E-G-A-N-Y. Allegheny.
E-G?
A-L-L-E-G-A-N-Y. Allegheny.
Allegheny, yeah, I know that. I'm sorry. I'm from central New York, Syracuse. And tell me about your family background when you were growing up. Your parents, what did they do, and then your siblings?
My dad was in business. He had a dry cleaner and tailor shop. He made suits for the bankers and the lawyers in the area. He also had a large dry cleaning business. And my mother was born on the farm in Pennsylvania. And she, when they got married, she had 7 children, and I was the middle child.
7 siblings?
Yes.
Wow.
Three sisters and 3 brothers, and I was in the middle.
Big family. And where did you graduate high school?
Allegheny Central. I went first to the St. Bonaventure Parochial School, which happened to be two houses down from me. Well, the church and then the school.
So close.
So close, yes.
When did you graduate?
I graduated from high school in 1951.
Oh, so when you were sophomore, the Korean War broke out.
I was what?
When you were sophomore in high school, the Korean War broke out,
Yes.
right? So did teacher talk about the Korean War in the school?
You know, they probably did. I can't remember.
Did you learn anything about Korea from the school in the geography or the history?
Not until I was a senior, and one of my friends went to Korea, and Clifford Finn, and he was killed there.
I am so sorry to hear
So
that.
I remember that.
But in the school, they didn't teach anything about Korea or the Korean War.
Not that I remember, but I was probably interested in girls rather than the subject at hand.
So you were chasing the girls rather
Probably,
than
yeah.
studying about the history of Korea.
Yes, it wasn't foremost on my mind.
Now you are the Korean War veteran. How ironical, huh?
Yes.
You're not interested in Korea at all.
Yes.
So when you graduated, what did you do?
I went to school in Buffalo. It's called Buffalo State Technical Institute.
Buffalo?
Buffalo State Technical Institute. It's now called Erie Community College.
Ah. What did you learn there?
And I majored in electricity and electronics.
And
After that, I got a deferment while I was in school. And I got one deferment while I was working for Niagara Mohawk. I went to work for Dr. Mohawk right after college because I co-opted with them.
So when did you leave for Korea then? When did you join the military?
Actually, I was drafted in 1954.
1954. Okay. And where did you get the boot camp training?
Fort Knox, Fort Knox, Kentucky.
And when did you leave from there, Korea?
After that, I was selected after 8 weeks to go to Fort Devens for the ASA. And I studied there for 10 months at Fort Devens, Massachusetts.
10 months? That's quite long.
Yes, it is for somebody who was drafted. So it was unusual.
Why did that happen to you?
I don't know. They selected me, I think, based on scores in electricity, maybe, or in electronics. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why I was selected, but.
And you're already a, college graduate, so you are expert already, and you don't need that long.
Well, it was training in ASA. And
what does ASA mean?
Army Security Agency. It was the Army equivalent of the NSA.
What did you do there then?
I guess we'd call it direction finding.
Direction finding?
Direction finding and locating transmissions, where radio transmissions were coming from.
So can you give me some example? Because the young children, I don't think they will understand.
Well, I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say about it. But
it's okay. It's 70 years.
It was so long ago. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
But I was assigned with my fellow ASA group to a place near Uijeonbu, Korea, and it was out in the middle of nowhere. And we would walk to a hut that was in the rice paddies, and very secure, but not guarded. And we would listen to transmissions and try to get a location on where they were.
But that was after the war, right?
Yes, it was after the war.
And we still intercept the conversation there then?
Yes.
And what did you find? Something very important?
We never really knew what we found. Our job was to find it, pass it on, and not ask any other questions.
I see. So you didn't know about the contents, but you were able to identify where that transmission coming from, right?
Yes, it was triangulized. It would have
triangulized.
Yeah.
When did you arrive in Korea?
You're going to tax my old memory. I know now because it was shortly after I got married.
So?
Yeah, that was it. So that was August 1955.
Wow. So every war is done, nothing going around at the time, but you were located, what was your unit?
I can't remember that. I'd have to look it up, I guess.
Division?
I was with the first. It was assigned with the First Army.
First Army?
I believe so. I believe that was it.
First Army, that sounds... Any company or regiment or battalion that you remember?
No, because we were up by ourselves.
So
sometimes,
ASA?
Sometimes we didn't even have an officer with us.
I see. What was your rank at the time?
I was a private and then a corporal. I guess they don't call it corporal, there's another name for it.
Anything during your service, when did you leave Korea?
I left Korea in August of '56.
And so you were there almost like a year. And
Yes.
during your service, were there any dangerous moment that you might have been killed?
Yes, but that wasn't from the enemy. I was driving a deuce and a half with a couple of people from soldiers from our group. And there was a convoy coming down the muddy road. It was a rainy season. I pulled over to the side of the road to let the convoy by, and the bank gave away. and we turned upside down in a ditch.
Oh.
All I remember is telling the passenger, fellow soldier, to turn out his darn cigarette. Language, something like that. And you know, what's unusual about it is, I don't know what happened after that. It's blank in my memory. I don't know what happened. I blanked out.
Really?
I don't know how I got out of there. I don't know if I went to a hospital. I don't know what happened to anybody else. So if anybody else is watching this interview and they knew about that, they can let me know. But I have no recollection of what happened. All I know is I eventually was back working again. That's all I remember.
But you were able to resume your work, right?
Yes.
As a member of ASA.
Yes.
But you just erased everything about that
Yes,
accident
yes,
from
yes.
your memory.
Yes, I can. I've tried several times to try to think about it. It has bothered me.
How convenient that is.
Yes.
You don't need to remember that, right?
I guess not. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So, tell me about the life there in Uijeongbu. Where did you sleep? What did you eat? What time did you wake up? What did you do after the work? Things like that.
We worked 6-hour shifts. We'd walk out to our huts and give the password, and they would let us in and relieve the person who was on duty. Then we'd go in and listen to possible transmissions. And we ate really well because we ate from the general's mess.
You ate from what?
From the general's mess. The general's, they call it the general's mess. It was we really ate well.
Like what?
And drank well.
Did you have a steak?
Oh, we'd have steak. We'd have good pork chops. And what was sad about it was we looked outside the window one day and there was a Korean gentleman going through our garbage. Still bothers me.
Yeah. Of course. There was nothing to eat, not much
Yeah, right.
there. Yeah.
So we invited him in and told him not to go near our garbage, that we would give him our good leftovers that we didn't serve, and he would take it to his family.
Yeah. So you were treated very privileged, sharing the food of generals. You had ice cream?
Oh yes, we had scotch. We had
Scotch.
Yeah, we had good booze. I'd have a scotch every day, I think, a little bit.
How lucky you are, huh?
Yes.
Other soldiers, they had a sea ration.
I know.
It was cold, so that they had
Yes.
to.
We were treated well.
Yeah, that's very good.
And before I left Korea, I was interviewed by a major that came on to our compound who was asking me, he was recruiting me for the NSA in Washington. I turned that down because I had a job waiting for me back home. And
You mean Niagara Mohawk?
for Niagara Mohawk, and I didn't want to. I had worked for them for a year before I was drafted, so I went back to Niagara Mohawk to work and swore I would never leave home again. As I kissed the ground when we get back to San Francisco from Korea.
Tell me about the Katusa that worked with. How was it? How the Korean soldier, Katusa?
Oh, we didn't interact with anyone.
Were you able to go to visit Seoul, other city?
Yes.
Tell me about the Seoul you saw at the time.
What I saw, there were holes in the concrete from where mortars had hit, and it looked stark and dreary. People walking the roads that looked extremely poor. It was sad. And what's nice is they made a wonderful comeback, and I think the Korean War was well worth it because of you can see the contrast between the North and South. It's a living testament to freedom versus communism. And they contribute so much to society now, not just from Korea, their own country, but to this country too, the Koreans that came over here.
Yeah.
My doctor is Korean.
What's her name?
My doctor is Dr. Kang.
Kang. And she's the...
That's he.
He.
That's he.
He. And what's his specialty?
Internal medicine. He's my primary care doctor.
Got it.
And he told me, Dr. Kang, he told me that his dad told him that if he ever has the opportunity to take care of GIs that were in Korea, to do take special care of them, because they were so good
Yeah.
in Korea. And he means he's a good man. He serves the villages from his office in Somerville and Ocala.
So he is here in the villages.
Yes, in Somerville.
Yeah. Have you been back to Korea since then?
No, I haven't.
So, but you are aware of how well the Korean economy is,
Yes,
right?
I followed it. Yes.
So tell students about the Korea now.
The Korea now is since it's free, it's the people are smiling. That's what's really noticeable, and they're darn good golfers, especially the women.
LPGA.
Yes.
Yeah.
I follow that, and I'm just very proud that I was over there, and very proud to see the Koreans on the world stage.
Do you play golf?
I play at it. I'm not a golfer.
How about Peggy?
If I have to. I played volleyball hours and hours.
Wow. You know the rank of Korean economy in the world now?
No, I don't.
It's a number 10.
Doesn't surprise me that they aren't even higher. Yeah.
But do you know the size of South Korea? Land size?
No, I don't.
Half of Florida state.
Wow.
Just a little bit bigger than Indiana.
Wow.
Yeah, and
That's interesting.
they don't have a drop of oil. They don't have a much natural resources. Everything is in the north side. But they became the 10th largest economy in the world, 6th largest trading partner to the United States, and strongest ally to the United States now. What do you think about that?
I think that even says a lot about why we were there.
Yeah.
And we're glad that we helped gain their freedom. And you can see how when there is freedom, that commerce can flourish. And I just look at it as something that had to be done, and I'm glad I was part of it.
When you left August of 1956, did you ever imagine that Korea would become like this today?
No, I didn't. But I thought they had an opportunity because I did go to Japan for 2 weeks while I was in Korea.
R&R?
And at R&R. And I saw how the Japanese were progressing. And their department stores were modern. Their trains were fast back then. And I thought that could possibly happen to Korea. I actually thought that.
Do you know that Japan was the enemy of United States during the World War II, right?
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in December 7 of 1941, right?
Right.
And after World War II, Germany was divided, right? By the French, British, and US and Russia.
Russia.
So in East Asia, Japan was supposed to be divided because they are the Axis power, right? But instead, Korean Peninsula was divided by the United States. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, for example, how Koreans feel about that.
Yeah.
You know.
So I just wrote another book about that, U.S.-Korea relationship, metamorphosis of the U.S.-Korea relationship, the Korean question revisited. It's going to be published next year, early next year. And also, because the Korean War broke out right after the World War II, right? So that Japan got all the economic boost from the United States because the uniform you wear, the bullets and everything was produced in Japan. So Japan got the special demands out of Korean War after they colonized Korean War from 1910 to 1945. So
Yes.
irony of history there. Yeah. Let's talk about the soft side of your service. How much were you paid for the very important ASA job?
I have no idea.
Same as others?
Same as others. There was no special. It was same as others.
How much?
I cannot remember.
Like $100 per month?
I have no idea. I just don't remember.
Why?
I don't know.
You didn't use that money there, right?
I had the money sent home. I sent some. I was married at the time.
You were married?
To back it up a little bit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was going with this wonderful lady, a wonderful girl, and we decided to get married. And I was scheduled to go to Germany.
Right.
So and she could go with me as my wife. So I thought that'd be really great. So we got married, and then my orders were cut to go to Korea. So I was married for 2 weeks, as it turned out. Then I left for Korea for 10 months.
Wow, must have been very hard for your wife, right?
Yeah, yes, it was difficult for both of us. But
But-
she lived at home at the time and was working, and so when you're in the same boat as everybody else, you don't mind it so much, I guess. There were other people that were, surrounded by other people that were there for, and they may not have liked it, but I actually enjoyed what I did, and I knew it was worthwhile, and I'm not sorry I did it.
Yeah,
I'm
but
pleased.
so you were honest that you wanted to be in Germany rather than Korea, right?
That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure, because you didn't know anything about Korea during the school and you didn't know much about it, right?
That's right. I thought it'd be fun to go to Germany, but as it turned out, I'm glad I went to Korea.
So you don't have any regret.
No, I have no regrets whatsoever.
When you stationed in Uijeongbu, what was your image of Korea at the time? Just be honest, okay? Tell students about the Korea you saw in 1950.
I saw a very, very poor country. I didn't really realize that the industrial country they would become commercial. And you'd see people on the side of the roads going to the bathroom, so they didn't have facilities. It was just sad.
Yeah.
And you just wondered what you could do to lift them up somehow. So all in all, it was a humbling experience to know that even though I grew up poor, because my dad died when I was 7, and my mother raised 7 children from age 39 up. I mean, she was age 39 when my dad passed away. So I thought I was poor, but it's just no comparison. Poor people over here would not be considered poor in Korea at that time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So we're very fortunate.
As you mentioned that Koreans didn't have much things to eat at the time, and in my website, foundation's website, you can see a lot of pictures where that young naked, half-naked children, Korean children,
Yes,
is actually swimming in the waste dump,
yes,
and they trying to find something to eat, right?
yes.
Yeah.
We saw some of that as we drove some of the roads.
But those Korean people now in the United States and become your primary doctors.
Yes,
and
they
surgeons.
contribute back to our country now.
Yeah.
Well, to his country, he's a citizen of U.S.
But U.S. has poured the money into Korea in the beginning after the war, and that's how Korea was able to, and also technology transfer, a lot of technology transfer. So it's a symbol of ally between these two countries. What are you reading?
I was looking here to see if I left anything out that I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
I guess I mentioned my records were burned in a fire at Fort Knox, so there's no record of actually what I did in the service. I guess that was it. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned about Dr. Kang contributing to helping,
Yes.
especially GIs out.
Yeah. But also, so tell me about your granddaughter. What's her name?
Nicole Starr, it is now. It was Evans, Nicole Evans, and she's a graduate of Syracuse University.
When?
The new house. Oh, you're asking me tough questions. I'm 88 years old. I can't
Yeah.
remember when I know I went to the graduation.
Like 10 years?
Did you go with me, Peggy, to that graduation?
No,
Okay. But anyway, I can't remember. It was probably, well, she's married now and has 2 children.
How about 10 years ago? More than that?
Let's see.
It was 21st century, right?
We're getting close.
Yeah.
I would say probably 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
Yes.
So it's more like 2009.
Yeah, she's probably 34 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go back from there. She graduated when she was 22.
Yeah.
She went to the Newhouse School of
Yeah.
Journalism.
I was still there in Syracuse University.
Well,
Yeah. So say hello to her. Okay?
I will.
Yeah.
I will, for
and
sure.
give the challenge coin to her, please.
Yes, and she and her husband and the 2 children will be visiting us on Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Good. Good for you. Any other episode you want to leave to this interview?
Any what?
Any other episode?
No,
And-
I really can't.
What was the most difficult thing during your stay in Korea? If I ask you to pinpoint only one out of many difficult things, what bothered you most at the time?
2 things bothered me. One had to do with Koreans eating out of our garbage can. That still bothers me. And the other was the truck incident, where I can't remember, and I'm just so curious as to what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Whether somebody else got hurt, how I got out of there, how I got back to the camp, I have no idea. So those things still kind of bother me. But regarding the Korea eating out of the garbage, that's changed now so much because of the Korean economy. So that it makes me feel good. It makes me feel proud that I was there.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know Samsung, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Samsung is the company that shares the largest market share of the semiconductor, which means computer chips. They make a cellular phone, right? Hyundai making automobile. They are far ahead in hydrogen engines for the future. And LG making all this, the electronics for the Americans. So Korea is now largest shipbuilder in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Fantastic, isn't it? But the problem is that the Korean War has been known as forgotten war. Forgotten. Why is it?
I don't know, and I don't know as it is. They say that it is. I certainly remember it.
Sure, of course. You should. But if you look at the world history textbook, like AP, Advanced Placement here, or world history book, regular history book, you will find one paragraph description about the Korean War. And it's very dry. It's starting like this, that the communist North attacked South Korea in June 25th of 1950. MacArthur did a wonderful job, and Truman fired MacArthur and things like that. And then still technically at war. It was armistice, ceasefire, not peace treaty.
Right.
That's it. So what do you think when children listen from you about your work in ASA and eating with the generals steak while others eating C ration? It will be very interesting, don't you think?
Yes, I was fortunate.
Yeah, you were very, very fortunate. So you were able to go to Seoul City and you went to R&R and you never wounded, right?
I never what?
Wounded.
Wounded?
No.
No.
All right.
How'd you cigarettes? How excited the people were when you would trade cigarettes?
So you gave to...
I quit smoking over there because it was easier to pay a person in cigarettes to take care of my bunk and laundry.
So who did that? Korean boy?
Korean girl.
Korean girl?
Korean woman.
Woman. How old was she?
I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say probably in her 30s.
30s? You don't remember her name, right?
No.
Yeah. So she did laundry for you?
She did laundry and would,
Clean?
clean my area out where I slept.
Where did you sleep? Quonset?
In a Quonset hut. When we first went there, I was in a tent. The tent leaked, so I complained. And they said, just move your bunk. They said, Quonset huts are coming. And so we did get Kwanzaa.
You are really spoiled, the Korean War veteran. You are the luckiest man. And so, did you pay for her job?
No, we paid her in cartons of cigarettes. That's what she wanted.
Oh,
And she could sell those, I guess.
so you quit the cigarette to pay for her.
Yes, I wanted to quit anyway
Anyway,
because I didn't enjoy it. I smoked for about 2 months and then I quit.
anybody else, the Korean boy or houseboy, busboy, work in your Quonset?
There were for others that were in there, and I can't remember.
I see. Got it.
Okay, I wish I could have remembered more for you, but I can't.
No, it's more than enough. And
Sometimes it pops in my mind, and I
sometimes
remember.
not.
And if I'd known I was going to be interviewed, actually, a few years ago, I'd have kept making notes every time I thought of something.
But you had a very important job there, ASA, and still there are 26,000 U.S. forces there. And in Korea, the U.S. has the biggest U.S. station building in the world. Not in Japan, not in Germany, but the biggest one is in Pyeongtaek, south of Seoul, in Korea. So that's the symbol of alliances between two countries. And you did your job as Korean War veterans there. So I want to thank you, and thank you for sharing your stories with me.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Mhm.